It's the night of June 5th, 1944. The Allied troops are in Weymouth Harbor, awaiting General Eisenhower's instructions.
Eisenhower wanted this to go off on June 5th. But the weather was too rough. It was too rough, and so he postponed it one day, but he could only postpone it one day because we had probably 100,000 soldiers sitting in ships, and they weren't used to that, and they were all getting sick. So it was turning into a mess.
You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory.
With Eisenhower's decision, Operation Overlord begins. Convoys transporting troops head toward the Normandy coastline. 73,000 Americans, including Peter Orlando, travel toward Omaha Beach.
But going over in the convoy, it was dusk when we left in the daytime. I have a picture in my head of all these ships, as far as you could see, just ships. And the biggest flags on them that you ever saw in your life. Everybody flew the biggest flag they had, American flag.
Ships arrive off the coast of Normandy very early on the morning of June 6th. Naval and aerial bombardments of the German defensive positions along the coast begin. However, many of the Navy's rocket barrages fall short, and many of the Air Force's bombs miss their targets, leaving much of the German defenses still intact.
We were 4 or 5 miles off. We could hear it. We could hear it.
The American troops wait for the landing to begin, with many experiencing the same feelings as Peter Orlando.
Well, terrified. Everybody was a little, but you were young. I was 22. Okay. And the other guy's going to die. That's just, we were afraid of hitting a mine. That was the thing, because we weren't a target really. We just they didn't want us. We weren't shooting back at them, and we were never under direct fire.
At 05:30, 1 hour before H hour, Peter Orlando and the American troops off Omaha Beach begin landing preparations.
We were there. We were off the bridge. We were off the beach. 5:30 in the morning. We were off there, and it was very rough. It was just like this. And they started unloading the kids off the transports, and I can still see these kids were going down the cargo nets. When I say kids, they're all kids with 80 pounds on their back. And every once in a while, one of them would let go and drown. They'd go down like a rock. And we started pulling a few of the drowned fellows off and put them on the fantail of the ship, and then we had instructions to stop because we had no place to put them. So that was the rotten part. I was always glad I was in the Navy. Those kids caught it.
The infantry soldiers will face many challenges before setting foot on the beach. The beach itself offers little protection, and they are vulnerable to enemy fire.
They had pillboxes along there, and Omaha Beach was elevated, and they were just shooting down. So it was like shooting fish in a barrel.
The geography of Omaha Beach gives the Germans clear advantages. The Allied troops launch a risky plan to take control of the 155mm artillery positions on Pointe du Hoc. These guns threaten the success of the American landings at both Utah and Omaha beaches. At 05:50 on June 6th, the final naval and aerial bombardment of Pointe du Hoc begin. The Allies hope to destroy German defenses before the arrival of the 2nd Ranger Battalion. The craters from these bombings can still be seen today. The Rangers' arrival is delayed, and they debark at 07:10 with the support of the destroyer, the USS Satterlee. The Rangers' mission is to climb the 100-foot cliffs of Pointe du Hoc and destroy the 155mm artillery guns at the top. Because of their late arrival, the Germans are awake and ready to fight back. As the Rangers scale the cliffs under direct fire, the German troops cut the Rangers' ropes and throw down grenades. When the Rangers reach the top of the cliffs, they discover that the guns have been moved. Despite fierce German fire, They locate the guns 1,100 meters away, and by 0830, the guns have been destroyed. After 36 hours of fighting, only 90 of the 190 Rangers survive. Meanwhile, 4 miles to the east of Pointe du Hoc, the fight to secure Omaha Beach continues. Peter Orlando is on a rescue tug.
When you say tug, you think of a little boat, but this was a ship. It was 168 feet long. It was 40 foot wide, and it drew 17 feet of water. And we were 60 people on it, 60 men. I was a radio man. We had a little room about 2/3 this size, and we were one man on a watch. We would stand 4 hours on, and then probably about 12 hours off because we were 4 people. And what we did, we constantly copied NSS. That was a radio station out of Washington, D.C. It was always giving the news. And it kept you sharp. And we had a typewriter that was all caps. It was just all caps. It just had all caps, and you just bam away. When we went into Normandy, we were getting our instructions. There was a ship there that was the USS Ancon, and it was the command ship at Omaha Beach, and General Bradley was on that. And we were getting our instructions from them. Everything, we were at Omaha Beach, and everything was divided up in grids, and they would just tell us, give us a number, and we would go to that spot. And what we did, we were pulling off the landing ships that were stuck, that didn't have the power to get back off. We pulled them off, and one of them we had to blow up. It hit a mine and was floating perpendicular, and we had to sink it.
The work on Omaha Beach isn't over on D-Day.
So we were there for 100 days, actually 100 days, clearing off the beach and trying to rescue tugs and rescue ships. And in fact, we almost broached ourselves. We almost went in. We had a cable caught up into the propeller and the rudder, and we started floating in, and they sent a diver over the side. He cut it, and they pulled us off. But we got a Navy unit citation for the work we did on the beach.
The Allies need a harbor to bring supplies to France. Artificial ports are constructed in Great Britain, transported across the Channel, and assembled off the Normandy coast.
They were huge, as you could see. They were huge, and they had, from way up on the top side, they had a bar that you could open them to sink them. And we, as I say, we towed a couple of them down the Channel into the southern ports. And they really overpowered the ship. They were just big.
Wow.
In fact, one of the tugs was actually torpedoed by an E-boat in the Channel, and we came across it, and the boat was sunk, and the Mulberry was just hovering over it, just floating there. That was kind of scary.
The concrete foundation at Gold Beach can still be seen today. The success at Normandy came at a terrible cost. On Omaha Beach alone, there were over 3,600 American casualties. Over 9,000 men are buried in the Normandy American Cemetery. May 8, 1945. 11 months after the D-Day invasion, Germany surrenders. The war in Europe is over.
We were in Rouen, and we got permission to go to Mass. It was VE Day. But we didn't go to Mass. We hitchhiked to Paris, which was about 80 miles. And we had a great time. Your money was no good, actually, and it was just wonderful. It was wild. It was crazy. And I really tied one on, and I can remember sitting in the gear, the railroad station, like that. And we didn't get back until the next morning, and the communication officer was on the gunnel. He was leaning over to me, and as I was going up, he said to me, "How was Mass?" That's the kind of stuff you remember. It's 70 years, and I still, and I never got away. He said, "How was Mass?" So anyway, that was it.